Imagine the suffocating weight of 13 years spent wondering if the person you loved most simply chose to walk away forever. 13 years of empty beds, whispered rumors that your wife abandoned her badge and her marriage, 13 years of a small coastal town quietly deciding she was better off gone, until one March morning in 1990, when a storm-tossed Pacific finally spits back her rusted patrol car at the base of Devil's Slide, blood in the trunk, a single .40 caliber casing under the seat, and the horrifying realization that she didn't leave. She was murdered, and the people who swore to serve and protect were the ones who buried her truth deepest. This is the true story-inspired nightmare of Officer Laura Monroe, a young sergeant who vanished on routine patrol in Pacifica, California, in 1977, and the husband who refused to let grief become acceptance. Welcome to this educational deep dive. We will walk chapter by chapter through betrayal, corruption, courage, and redemption, mastering advanced English vocabulary and idioms, drawing philosophical lessons from real 1970s, 1990s U.S. police corruption scandals, and connecting this tragedy to universal wisdom about integrity, persistence, and the moral courage required to confront evil wearing a familiar face. Because sometimes the longest night is the one before the light finally breaks through. The fog that March morning in 1990 clung to Pacifica's cliffs like a shroud unwilling to lift, and Sergeant Jack Monroe felt it settle into his bones the instant dispatch crackled. Unit 23, 1054 at Devil's Slide, possible police vehicle at the base. His coffee froze mid-pour. Devil's Slide was no ordinary drop-off. It was the jagged scar where Highway 1 met the Pacific in sheer rock and relentless waves, a place that had claimed cars, levs, and secrets for decades. Jack knew every curve. He'd driven it thousands of times in 20 years, but this call tightened his chest in a way no other ever had. 13 years earlier, almost to the day, his wife Laura, 28, newly promoted patrol sergeant, blonde hair feathered in the late 70s style, blue eyes bright with pride, had kissed him goodbye before her night shift and never returned. The department concluded she'd run off. Jack had spent every day since refusing to believe it. Vocabulary spotlight. Shroud. A cloth used to wrap a body, here metaphorically describing thick fog that conceals, and idiom settle into his bones, a deep, physical sensation of dread or certainty. Historically, Devil's Slide was notorious in the 1970s, 80s for frequent rock slides and vehicle plunges. Real cases like the 1978 disappearance of a California Highway Patrol officer near similar cliffs fueled local legends of cover-ups. Emotionally, Jack's journey begins in suspended grief, denial hardened into routine until this moment cracks it open. He races to the scene, meets Detective Marie Estrada at the Northern Overlook, watches Coast Guard helicopters lower cables to lift the rusted 1975 Plymouth Fury, Laura's exact model, from the surf. Rust has eaten the metal like cancer. Barnacles crust the undercarriage. Water pours from shattered windows like tears. Forensic swarm, license plate matches, shell casing, .40 caliber, department issue, degraded blood in the trunk and under the rear seat. No body, but undeniable proof of violence. Supervisor Richard Hensley arrives, urges Jack to step back. You're too close, but Jack refuses. Marie gently steers him from reporters. He delivers a stoic statement defending Laura's honor. At home, he opens the dusty 1977 case file. Her last log entry, 2015 hours, routine traffic stop at mile marker 42, minimal witness statements, partner Patricia Rise noting Laura seemed in good spirits. Jack drives to that very mile marker, stands in the wind-bent coastal grass, remembering how procedure demanded pairs after dark, yet Laura had been sent solo. A San Mateo County Patrol car pulls up. Carl Bowen, the night supervisor who signed her final log. Carl is guarded, sympathetic, evasive. He suggests coffee sometime soon and drives off. Jack's suspicion ignites. Why the coincidence? Back at the station, he overhears Hensley's frantic phone call. Car came up, move it now. Sees him swallow pills, stumble. Marie uncovers a misfiled witness statement. Belinda Carlson saw Laura pull over a white van near Devil's Slide, later changed her story after Hensley's pressure. Jack and Marie confront Belinda. She confesses Hensley paid her for years to stay silent, ruined her ranger career over an anonymous complaint about her personal life. The envelope she hands them contains $3,000 cash, Hensley's latest discretion payment. Philosophical teaching from Soren Kierkegaard. The most common form of despair is not being who you are. Laura lived authentically as a dedicated officer. The department's rush to label her a runaway betrayed her truth. Modern English learning. Notice sensory detail. Fog clung like a shroud. Water poured like tears. Creates immersion. Practice layering metaphors for emotional impact. Idiom spotlight. Cracked it open, suddenly exposed something hidden. As Jack and Marie tail Carl Bowen to San Pedro Valley Park and witness him and Hensley exhume buried remains, Laura's, then follow Carl to a meth lab and trafficking operation at Sharp Park Water Treatment Facility, the scale of corruption becomes undeniable. What would you do if the people you trusted most turned out to be the architects of your greatest loss? Would you walk away to protect what little piece remains, or would you keep digging until every lie is dragged into the light? The afternoon sun slanted low over San Pedro Valley Park as Jack and Marie crouched behind eucalyptus, watching Richard Hensley and Carl Bowen load a black plastic bag, human remains, into Carl's patrol car, their conversation chilling. If they confirm the blood is Laura's, they'll want the body. Middle Peak Trail, 2 miles in, no one goes there. Jack's stomach twists. 13 years of wondering if Laura left him collapses into certainty. She was murdered, buried, hidden by men wearing the same badge he still carried. They tail Carl north along Highway 1 to Sharp Park Water Treatment Facility. He parks at the rear, carries the crate into tall grass, digs a hasty grave, pockets a finger bone as a trophy. Then he enters an abandoned generator shed, emerges with a brown paper package, narcotics, and accepts 2 terrified teenage girls from cartel men, loading them into his cruiser as escort for a white van matching Belinda's description. Jack's nausea surges. Marie calls for tactical backup. Sirens converge. Swap breaches. Carl attempts bluff. I was just checking the warehouse. But Jack confronts him. We watched you bury human remains, probably Laura's, then pick up drugs and traffic girls. Carl pales. Inside the shed. Stairs descend to a meth lab. Glassware, chemicals, precursor tanks, and side rooms hold captive women, some teenagers kept as monthly rewards for corrupt officers. Victims speak in hushed Spanish, the young ones for new customers, police who help them. Jack steps outside, fighting bile. This is not isolated corruption. It is systematic evil shielded by badges. Forensics recover Laura's remains from Carl's new grave. Jack whispers. Finally found you. They secure Belinda Carlson's testimony. She arrives under escort, fulfills her promise. Back at Pacifica PD, Richard Hensley sits cuffed in interrogation. Marie leads. We saw you pay Belinda move remains. Carl to the meth lab. Richard crumbles. I'm tired of looking over my shoulder. Confession pours out. Laura pulled over a meth van in 1977. Driver shot her. Richard, already on cartel payroll for 2 years, arrived with Carl, finished her with her own gun. She'd seen too much, buried her at Middle Peak, had cartel men dump the car at Devil's Slide. Blood in trunk from transport. Monthly payoffs included drugs and girls. Name spill, half the department implicated. Jack walks out, overwhelmed. Belinda waits in the corridor. I'm sorry. I took their money, kept quiet. Jack forgives gently. You came forward when it mattered. In evidence, he identifies Laura's pendant. Jack and Laura forever, and Carl's trophy bone. Tears come. 13 years release. Vocabulary spotlight. Systematic evil, organized, deliberate wrongdoing, and idiom crumbles, collapses under pressure. Historically, 1970s, 80s California saw real scandals. Rampart Division, 1990s LAPD corruption. Earlier San Francisco and Oakland police drug protection rackets, where officers shielded traffickers for payoffs, mirroring this narrative. Emotionally, Jack moves from grief to righteous fury to cathartic closure. Philosophical teaching from Plato's Republic. A just society requires guardians who guard themselves first. When protectors become predators, the polis rots from within. Modern English learning. Confession dialogue. I finished what the runner started. Uses understatement for chilling effect. Practice restraint in high-emotion scenes. Idiom spotlight. Half the department implicated. Large portion involved in wrongdoing. As trials loom and the department faces purge, Jack stands with Marie watching victims receive care. It shouldn't be the same. If the people sworn to protect you become the danger, how do you find the strength to tear down the house you once called safe? Will you protect the illusion, or burn it to the ground so something honest can rise? In the months that follow, Pacifica PD becomes a crime scene in slow motion. FBI and internal affairs agents swarm, seizing files, interviewing every officer, naming dozens complicit in the meth trafficking ring that used the water treatment plant as hub and police escorts as cover. Richard Hensley pleads guilty, testifies against higher-ups. Carl Bowen takes a deal, fingers cartel contacts. Belinda Carlson receives immunity for full cooperation. Her testimony seals the chain linking 1977 murder to 1990 operation. Victims from the Sharp Park raid. Dozens of women, some trafficked for years, receive counseling, relocation, new starts. Jack visits them at Pacifica General, listens to their stories, promises. You're safe now. People care. He attends Laura's reburial, quiet ceremony on a bluff overlooking Devil's Slide, places her pendant in the earth, whispers, rest now. Emotionally, closure arrives in fragments. Nightmares lessen, empty bed feels less accusing, memories shift from pain to pride. Vocabulary spotlight, slow motion, events unfolding with agonizing deliberation, and idiom seals the chain, completes the evidence link. Historically, post-1990s reforms, LAPD Rampart scandal aftermath, 2001 DOJ consent decrees, forced transparency, civilian oversight, and whistleblower protections, mirroring the fictional purge here. Philosophical teaching from Immanuel Kant. Treat people as ends, never means. The traffickers and corrupt cops reduced humans to commodities. Justice restores dignity. Modern English learning. Cause-effect sequencing. Hensley pleads, testimony seals, victims receive, builds logical flow, practice in expository writing. Idiom spotlight. Fragments. Small, incomplete pieces gradually forming whole. Jack retires early. Opens a small nonprofit training officers on ethics and recognizing corruption. Marie rises to captain, reforms policy. One evening Jack walks the bluff alone, wind carrying salt and memory. He feels Laura's presence, not ghost, but quiet approval. What would you build from the ashes of betrayal? Would you retreat into bitterness, or use the ruins to construct something stronger, something that protects the next generation from the same darkness? Decades later, on a clear Pacifica morning, Jack, now silver-haired, retired, still walking the coastal trails, pauses at the overlook where Laura's car once rose from the waves. A plaque stands there now, simple bronze, in memory of Officer Laura Monroe, murdered in the line of duty, 1977. Her courage inspires reform. Below, Highway 1 curves past Devil's Slide, now stabilized, safer. Jack touches the plaque, smiles faintly. The department he left is different. Body cams mandatory, civilian review boards, ethics training annual, whistleblower lines direct to FBI. Marie, now chief, visits occasionally. They share coffee, speak of the women saved, the lives changed. Belinda Carlson runs a victim support group. Her story, once silenced, now teaches others to speak. Jack writes letters to young officers. The badge is a promise, not a shield. Keep it clean. Emotionally, his arc completes in quiet peace, grief transformed into purpose, loss into legacy. Vocabulary spotlight, legacy, something handed down to future generations, and idiom, rises from the waves, emerges triumphantly from difficulty. Historically, post-1990s California policing saw real accountability waves, 1991 Rodney King reforms, 2000s transparency laws, 2020's George Floyd Justice in Policing Act echoes. each sparked by exposure of systemic abuse. Philosophical teaching from Hannah Arendt, action and forgiveness renew the world. Jack forgave enough to act, renewing trust in the badge. Modern English learning, reflective summary, grief transformed, loss into legacy, uses parallelism for closure, practice balancing clauses. Idiom spotlight, quiet peace, calm acceptance after turmoil. As Jack watches waves crash below, he knows truth surfaced because one fisherman noticed rust in the surf, one mother refused silence, one detective followed instinct over comfort. Evil flourished in shadows, light, persistent, painful, shared, ended it. If a single rusted car rising from the ocean can rewrite 16 years of lies, what small truth are you carrying that, once spoken, might change everything for someone still waiting to be seen? Speak it. The tide always comes in.